young trees into a heap. There were no other mourners present, save one man in dark blue robes trailing after Lien. There was a suggestion of familiarity about him, his walk, but Laurence could not see his face. The man took up a post at the side of the grave, watching silently as the servants dug. There were no flowers, nor the sort of long funerary procession Laurence had before witnessed in the streets of Peking, family tearing at their clothes, shaven-headed monks carrying censers and spreading clouds of incense. This curious night-time affair might almost have been the scene of a pauper's burial, save for the gold-roofed imperial pavilions half hidden amongst the trees, and Lien standing over the proceedings like a milk-white ghost, vast and terrible. The servants did not unwrap the body before setting it in the ground, but then it had been more than a week since Yongxing's death. This seemed a strange arrangement for the burial of an imperial prince, even one who had conspired at murder and meant to usurp his brother's throne. Laurence wondered if his burial had earlier been forbidden, or perhaps was even now clandestine. The small, shrouded body slipped out of view, a soft thump following. Lien keened once, almost inaudibly, the sound creeping unpleasantly along the back of Laurence's neck and vanishing in the rustling of the trees. He felt abruptly an intruder, though likely they could not see him amid the general blaze of the lanterns behind him, and to go away again now would cause the greater disturbance. The servants had already begun to fill in the grave, scraping the heaped earth back into the hole in broad sweeps, work that went quickly. Soon the ground was patted level once again under their shovels, nothing to mark the gravesite but the raw, denuded patch of ground and the low-hanging willow tree, its long trailing branches sheltering the grave. The two boys went back into the trees to gather armfuls of forest cover, old rotted leaves and needles, which they spread all over the surface until the grave could not be told from the undisturbed ground, vanishing entirely from view. This labour accomplished, they stood uncertainly back. Without an officiant to give the affair some decent ceremony, there was nothing to guide them. Lien gave them no sign. She had huddled low to the ground, drawn in upon herself. At last the men shouldered their spades and drifted away into the trees, leaving the white dragon as wide a berth as they could manage. The man in blue robes stepped to the graveside and made the sign of the cross over his chest. As he turned away, his face came full into the moonlight, and abruptly Laurence knew him. De Guigne, the French ambassador, and almost the most unlikely mourner imaginable. Yongxing's violent antipathy towards the influence of the West had known no favourites, nor made distinctions amongst French, British, and Portuguese, and de Guigne would never have been admitted to the prince's confidence in life, nor his company tolerated by Lien. But there were the long aristocratic features, wholly French. His presence was at once unmistakable and unaccountable. De Guigne lingered yet a moment in the clearing and spoke to Lien, inaudible at the distance, but a question by his manner. She gave him no answer, made no sound at all, crouched low with her gaze fixed only upon the hidden grave, as if she would imprint the place upon her memory. After a moment he bowed himself away gracefully and left her. She stayed unmoving by the grave, striped by scudding clouds and the lengthening shadows of the trees. Laurence could not regret the prince's death, yet pity stirred. He did not suppose anyone else would have her as companion now. He stood watching her for a long time, leaning against the rail, until the moon travelled at last too low, and she was hidden from view. A fresh burst of laughter and applause came around the terrace corner. The music had wound to a close. Part 1. Chapter 1. The hot wind blowing into Macao was sluggish and unrefreshing, only stirring up the rotting salt smell of the harbour, the fish corpses and great knots of black-red seaweed, the effluvia of human and dragon wastes. Even so, the sailors were sitting crowded along the rails of the Allegiance for a breath of the moving air, leaning against one another to get a little room. A little scuffling broke out amongst them from time to time, a dull exchange of shoving back and forth,